The cherry blossoms are out for all to see. It's a spectacular sight that lifts the spirits of Japanese and travellers lucky enough to be here. It's difficult to imagine a time when Japan was completely isolated from the outside world. But under Sakoku, from the 17th to the 19th centuries, no foreigner could enter, nor any Japanese leave the locked country on the penalty of death. Eventually, Japan opened up and foreigners returned. But many of the old, insular ways continue to this day. Just ask parents trapped in the anguish of failed marriage, locked out from the lives of their children, and with nowhere to turn.
So I thought, my wife can't kidnap my kids, I'll just go to the police. The first 2 or 3 months, I was shattered. The first 6 months, I was numb.
And when I got home, I kind of just fell apart, and my true feelings of, not being able to trust him, of being really angry with him, came out.
Basically, it all came down to, I don't want to be with you, I don't want to be with you, I'm leaving. I didn't even know my daughter was born, no.
Tonight, we reveal how Japan has long condoned one parent snatching children away from the other. Not just from within its own jurisdiction, but from around the world. This is the story of how Japan became a haven for parents abducting their own children, and of the paralysing heartbreak and helplessness of those parents left behind. Under Japanese law, there's no such thing as dual custody. The courts here almost universally award all legal rights over a child to the one parent, meaning the other parent is frozen out of their child's life. Often, the only contact the forgotten parent is allowed is a few photographs of their child every year.
You want to spoil it, boy.
Craig Murray isn't just a father, he's a 24-hour-a-day carer for his profoundly disabled son, Spencer. After terrible complications during birth, Spencer was left with catastrophic brain damage and severe cerebral palsy.
He can't swallow, he can't move on his own, he obviously can't sit up, he can't close his eyes. And obviously, kids can be very, very resilient, but in Spencer's case, he was essentially born dead.
The Chicago native and reproductive biologist came to Japan 15 years ago to further his research, but he quickly fell for and married a Brazilian-born Japanese woman. While they were both struggling to care for their firstborn son, Craig Murray's wife discovered she was pregnant with their second child, and it proved too much for her.
So she started to say she wanted a divorce, she wanted to leave. She talked about wanting to, not necessarily commit suicide, but to die.
"5 months into her pregnancy, his wife disappeared, leaving Craig Murray to care for Spencer on his own and shut out of the birth of his second child.
I didn't even know my daughter was born, no. I found out that she was in the hospital, and I went to try to see her with Spencer, and she had called security, and I was denied to see my daughter.
How old was she when you finally got to see her?
6.5 months, in a courtroom, for 15 minutes with her mother wailing in the background. Not the ideal circumstances to meet your daughter. So.
See? You know what? Listen, you've got more hairs than I do.
Craig Murray has a night job. He's unable to afford specialist care, so he takes his son along to the bar he runs in the town of Okazaki. In between pulling beers, he has to clear Spencer's airways to ensure he doesn't suffocate. Despite his wife abandoning their son, the court awarded her guardianship of their baby daughter, Amelia. And now, still fighting that ruling, Craig Morrie has been placed in an extraordinary dilemma by the court. If he takes his son to the United States, where he can get better care for him, he's been told he'll lose the right to see his daughter.
One more kiss, that's it.
I'm sort of put in a situation where I either have to abandon my daughter and leave her with someone who I don't think is a particularly